My guest today is AJ Vaynerchuk. He is the founder and co-CEO of VaynerSports, and he was the COO at VaynerMedia. Our conversation today covers sports, raising a family, trying to build a culture and a team in these crazy days around us. But more importantly, we have a lot of fun, and I think you'll really enjoy the conversation. All right, you ready to do this?
Let's do it. We doing breakfast ball or what? All right, buffet ball. Best time of year for me is August, because my primary focus on the agent side is football, and that's training camp. And guys are too busy dying to worry about calling their agent about marketing or any other sort of problem. They're just focused on staying awake. So I'm able to get out a bunch in August usually.
Nice.
Try to play like 5 or 6 rounds every August. Slow. Get in. Oh, on camera too.
You guys had an amazing business with VaynerMedia, and you had crossed paths with athletes. You've worked with athletes.
Yep.
Why start VaynerSports?
Pure passion.
Okay.
To your point, I was lucky enough to run into athletes along the way. Whether it was on the brand side, actually being on the other side of the table, and negotiating those deals, or actually quite a bit in the venture capital space. Guys like Draymond Green, Carmelo Anthony, Ndamukong Suh, they were ahead of their time in terms of investing. And I just grew up a diehard sports fan, and I saw my background in like service-based business, just applying to the athlete rep industry. So. Wood's cooking today, loving it.
You had a great experience on the ride up to VaynerMedia. What did you want to do differently in VaynerSports?
So part of what I wanted to do differently, but also part of what forced the difference was COVID. VaynerSports is only 5 years old, and so, and we really actually have done our most growth during COVID. And so one massive difference is that we are highly distributed. We are a remote first company.
Which in the world of sports,
and that was the plan, and that makes sense.
That's a great fit,
But with VaynerMedia, our first 50 employees were all under one roof, and we were able to build a culture that way.
Super different,
I think we have 35 people in 14 different cities. Awesome. So it's cool, but it's just so drastically different. Oh, I pulled it. Yeah, settle. Kick right. That's a really nice shot. Hell yeah, that's a tap in. Yeah, zoom in. That's a tap in. One other aspect of our business that's been unique recently these last few months is that we launched an NFT project on top of the agency. It's a sports related NFT. It's called VaynerSports Pass. It's completely integrated in a layer to the agency. Man, this is the best. Kev, I can assure you, this is the best I've struck the ball off the tee my entire life. Like, it sounds like competition's a healthy thing. Oh yeah. With Mizzen, when you started, like after year 1, how many people? After year 2, how many people? Like, what was that growth like? And
year 1, no people. Year 2, I think it was, as we rounded out year 2, hired the first full-time employee. And it was basically everyone was trying to do everything because that's what they had to do.
Yeah, wear every hat.
And then year 3, I think we had probably 5 or 6 people. Year 4, that's when we hired Ryan, who's our president and runs the business now. And it's just been a wild ride.
How many people now about, roughly?
Probably about 50.
Love that shot. That's a great shot. You gave a kiss to a leaf too, right?
So, in the era of COVID,
in
terms of kind of keeping your culture strong, what are some of the things that you're finding effective to keep people just connected to who you guys want to be long term?
Yeah, we actually had a conversation yesterday. We have a new head of HR that came in. That's one of the highest things on my list. One thing we started just now, we did it a couple of months ago, where we did an entire company offsite where we brought all 35 employees to Arizona to a resort, one-stop shop. Everybody stayed on resort.
What property?
It was a Omni in Scottsdale.
Yep.
And then we're gonna do that twice a year. I want people to hang out and spend time so that when they get an email from somebody, they read it in the right tone. Because you text and email, you can lose the tone of it. And I just want people to get to know each other as people. So we're doing that twice a year. That's like number one. And then, yeah, like I said, it's like a constant thing we're thinking about. And it's a new challenge for me, considering we were so connected for most of my career at Vayner. Oh, too much. I hit it soft though. Another lesson I learned from the first company to this company is I'm not a fan of skill sets overlapping. I think it ends up creating conflict unnecessarily, where maybe sometimes there's not enough room for two people, the same skill set and things like that. So I'm constantly seeking out complementary but different skill sets. And I find that if you bring in good, competent people, the staff feels that and they embrace that and they tap in one another more instead of boxing people out. The more you can get collaboration instead of box out, I think the better. So that's something I really seek and look for and want.
So what other sports are you guys excited to get into, and what makes you so excited about it?
It just comes from passion. And that's not always what drives us into the next sport. You know, admittedly, we're in mixed martial arts, and I tell everybody, even our fighters, that before I got into the business, mixed martial arts was probably not in my top 5 or 6 sports I liked.
Yeah.
But then getting into the business, getting to know the fighters, starting to watch the fights, now it's like, I love mixed martial arts. I love watching it.
Yeah.
So if it's purely passion-based,
it's exploded.
They did a great job during COVID. You know, kudos to the leadership there. They navigated COVID. They found a way to do a bubble, whether it was at the Apex or across the way overseas. So if it's purely passion-based and interest-based, I want to be in basketball and golf. But that might not necessarily be our next sport, just because we're running a business, and if the opportunity in a different sport makes more sense and we love the leader of that unit, that's where we'll be.
And how long until you guys buy the Jets?
It's gonna be a long time. You mean, you see what the Broncos just sold for?
No.
I mean, they sold for like $4.5
billion.
Yeah.
Well, obviously.
So that's a problem. Oh, that felt good. A little right. It's a little right, but it's gonna be good. What's your favorite sports?
I love watching golf, mostly just the majors. And then I grew up playing a little bit of everything. I find my favorite thing to watch are some of the top college football games. NFL's obviously just much better in terms of performance, but the intensity and
the energy, the passion.
And it's gotten to the point where if you lose one game, your season could be over in the way that people look at it today. And so there's always a chance for an upset. There's always a chance for, you know, a career-defining game.
So much is on the line.
So much is on the line every game, and I love that. That is a beautiful shot. My goodness. What's some of the maybe behind the scenes of working with Gary?
A lot of people ask me, like, is he really that same dude that you see, like, whether it's in the, like, hey, when the lights are off and it's just the two of you hanging out and you're watching a Knicks game, is he that same dude? And he actually is. So that's like kind of something that people are surprised by. Like, I think a lot of people out there think maybe it's a shtick or he puts on a show, but like, sometimes I tell my brother to turn it off. It's just like the two of us, it's been a long day. I'm like, hey man, like, I don't feel like coming up with new business ideas. I don't feel like doing this. Like, can we just watch the Knicks lose by 20? Like, that's all I'm looking for. So that's a real conversation that happens from time. Now, the other half the time, we're jamming, and we're thinking, and we're brainstorming, and so.
That is a beautiful shot, my goodness. What's been the difference for you? First company, I mean, huge part of the building phase. Now with kids, building a company with kids.
I mean, a drastic difference. I think, you know, the pandemic really helped me kind of get a work-life balance instilled. I make it a really, really solid point to spend dinner, bath, and bedtime with my kids if I'm in New York. It's my parenting style is a little bit of a contradiction. I'm somebody that is pretty firm. Like, I'm a big believer that, like, if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. So I try not to give them more than an inch. But then at the other side, like, I'm a big believer. My mom did so much of it, of just like building up self-esteem. So I'm constantly praising my kids, building them up. So it's kind of an interesting contradiction between the two. But I feel like that's kind of what I was raised with. My dad was really firm. My mom was this big self-confidence builder-upper. So I try to embody both in one shot if I can. It's an interesting balance.
Yes.
Just best hole I played this summer, no question.
One of the things that Bruce Feiler, he wrote The Secret of Happy Families. He talks about the job of parents with kids' sports, and obviously it's no secret how crazy parents are with kids' sports.
Yeah.
Is basically you are there to support them and cheer them on. Mm-hmm. And I found myself doing this, trying to tell them what to do on the soccer field and in baseball, and shouting instructions and corrections. And my son's 5 and I live in Texas, so there's some crazy sports parents.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I was trying to get him to be a better player, I was trying to help him.
Yeah.
But he basically said the thing that you want to do as a parent, and I couldn't agree with it more, is just be their cheerleader and not, you can do no wrong, but encourage them. Yep. And you want to tell them what a great job they did. Next time I hope you maybe work a little harder. Right. Rather than try and be a proxy coach.
Yeah, I like that.
And
that
let the coach be the coach.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me.
And honestly, since I read that, it's made me enjoy going to their games so much more.
I love that. It's funny, my brother and I had, as like a cousin of that thought, in terms of like being in a business with a family member. Yeah. My brother and I got to a point with him being the CEO, me being the COO, and the business was growing so fast that every time I called my brother, which was a few times a day, it was typically something like a fire we needed to fix. Mm-hmm. And what he told me, and it was a great litmus for a relationship with anybody, is try to capture your emotional feeling the second you see somebody's name on your phone. Second you get a call, try to, like, in a split second, be like, what am I feeling when I see this name? And what my brother told me, he's like, listen, we need to fix this, because when I see your name, I feel like something bad's happening. Yeah. And I don't want to associate you with bad. And so what we actually did was we hired somebody as like a proxy, just to be a messenger in between us. Yeah. I still called my brother about business, but not every single problem had to come from me, and it really helped our relationship.
That's great.
So it just kind of makes me think of a similar concept in regards to, like, don't try to be the coach, like let the coach coach. Yeah. It really became like we were becoming more CEO and COO than brother. Yeah. And so that makes a lot of sense to me. That could actually work out pretty well. Just get through the trees. Yeah. Let the big dog eat.
On camera.
It's just my day.
As a sports fan, and certainly basketball is a big thing for you. What's been the biggest pinch me moment getting to do what you do, knowing how much you love sports?
Yeah, I have a pretty clear one. And I'm proud that I was able to kind of like disassociate my fandom with my professionalism. This will be right here.
Oh, that looks good.
Get right. Oh yeah, good bounce. Is it on the green? Holy shit. All right, fun fact. Never had an eagle. No eagles. So I have a client named DJ Reed. Okay. Plays corner. He was most recently with the Seahawks, and he was just a free agent this past March. Yep. And he had a great year, great 2 years, frankly, going into free agency. And he was a highly sought out free agent. There was a few teams in the mix. Yep. And I'd say, like, going into free agency, we had 4 or 5 teams that were genuinely interested, and the Jets, the team that I grew up so passionately rooting for, was one of them. Yep. Long story short, it shook out that the Jets ended up being the best opportunity for DJ, offered the most money, and just was a great fit. The head coach there was his former defensive coordinator in San Francisco. And the whole time, and I talked to DJ, I'm like, DJ, like, I hope you believe me when I say that, like, my fandom as a Jets fan is not going to impact my work for you. I'm not going to let that get in the way and muddy the decision-making process. And he understood and agreed. But I'd be lying if after I hung up the phone with Joe Douglas, the general manager, and we had an agreement, I didn't say, like, wow, I literally just negotiated a $10+ million a year deal with the Jets on behalf of one of my clients. Like, I called my brother after. I kept him out of it. Yeah. Kept him out of it. I was like, he can't really know how real it is because I don't want him to like just. And so I called him, and I was like, "Hey man, like DJ's a jet," and he's like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Like he was hyped. We were talking. I gave him the details.
155. That is
But
so
it was really cool. It was definitely my pinch me moment for sure.
Not enough. Be there. Be there.
Oh yeah. Great meeting. Yeah, man. This is great. This was a lot of fun.